listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM. We're also streaming on Facebook and Hot Mic. There you go.
Oh, there we are. Good morning, Yamhill County.
Ray, good morning.
Yeah, we're here.
We're going to talk about some gardening because that's what we do on the show, right?
Yep, that's what we do.
It's Yamhill gardening. And what do we have? We've got weather going out there. I woke up to in Amity a little bit of the sprinkles and gray skies.
Well, this is just normal May spritzing. It's not anything tragic.
You go to France and you come back with the words like spritzing.
Spritzing, yeah. That's what this is. This is just like misting your plants, you know.
Yeah.
And so the higher power, the weather gods, are just spritzing us.
Right. For me, what it seems like it's doing is it got that soil recharged with some water. Because of my clay soil, it dries up. It's been drying up really fast, and this kind of recharged it so that I'm not having to go out there and just dump some water on it. Today's show, we're going to talk about some irrigation. We'll get back into that a little bit
some
later.
Issues with watering.
Right, but for me right now, my garden's doing happy, and I'm not having to set the water timer out there right now.
No, everybody's just fine on my deck. It's still a little bit cold in the pot soil, so nobody's really, like the wave petunias aren't waving.
No,
they're just laying on the beach looking at me like, no, not yet.
Yeah,
we'll do it.
And so what we're looking at as far as the weather coming up this weekend, it should be a bit like this, right?
Yeah,
and then tomorrow,
not uncomfortable though.
It isn't. It really is a good time to get out there and weed, is what I feel like this is perfect weather for, is spending about a half an hour out there pulling the dandelions, clipping those dandelions, because you will thank yourself in the summer when you don't have 10,000 dandelions. This is a good time to pull them up.
This is not the time of the year to make the magic happen by blowing the little fuzzies off your dandelion.
I run out there. I see this because I've been taking care of them by hand for the past 3 years in my yard. And I've gotten them almost controllable, but you're right. You get that one that goes to seed, and then you've got 10,000 more that you have to deal with the next year.
You're instantly 2 hours behind on your weed pulling.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yep. So you got Rufus right in front of you there, over there at ovs.com, the weather cafe.
Yeah.
By Rufus, and
he seems positive this morning.
Yeah.
So he's really looking forward to the second half of May. It's kind of unanticipated, but most of the heavy weather is going to be east of the Cascades.
Not us.
Right. We're going to get spritz.
More spritz. And that's what he does say. He says we've got these weather patterns that are going to just bring some rain, particularly here in the middle and more towards the end of the month. And it's just going to be kind of more what April was supposed to have been.
Yeah, that's in Yamhill County and the Willamette Valley, our little Garden of Eden of the Northwest.
Sure, don't tell anybody.
No, don't invite them home.
Right, did not offer them cookies. Tell them to go. All right.
Yeah.
No, that's how I found my way. But particularly Memorial.
You followed the cookies?
Right, I stayed for the cookies. The pie, actually, is what I stayed for. Memorial Day weekend, if you've got these plans, he says that if you're packing a tent, you might want to consider the rain that is probable for that particular weekend. So more wet. That's basically all we're looking at.
But
we could talk more about the weather, but it's just really, it's normal.
It's normal, and it's just warm enough for good root growth.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But it's not warm enough for the whole plants to just start booming up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just forming roots and little feeder roots and things like that. And when it gets really warm, then those guys go to work. Then your plants will grow.
Yeah, and you're bringing up a really good point about the warmth, because I'm looking at the low temperatures predicted here in McMinnville over the next 10 days, and the lowest we're getting is about 46, 47.
That's nice.
And when we talk, we've been talking about soil temperature, and that's what we're looking at. If it just drops below that, the soil temperature itself isn't going to go down to 45 necessarily. So 50 degrees, what we're looking at. That's why we're starting to see more green things pop up because the soil temperature is at that constant rate that they need it to, and it's only going to get warmer. We're going to get the 60-degree soil temperatures
Soon.
So we get this rain and this warmth, and but the roots they're getting really happy right now.
You got any black leaf on your plants yet from the mold?
No, I don't. I
Neither
don't have
do I.
any
My
black-
roses are absolutely
Oh,
clean. I
no,
can't.
no, you
my
brought that
rose,
up. Right.
not
Well,
roses.
I've got one that I did not spray, and we'd just gotten it last year, so I hadn't treated it for anything, and it is looking. It's looking like a 14-year-old boy in the face. The pock marks just everywhere. It's just yeah. It's got the black spots all over the place. You're right. And this is a good time for it to get even more black spots. Right. That's,
Yeah, it's
with the weather
perfect
that is.
conditions for molds and mildews and that sort of thing because it is warm enough in the afternoon, but it's still damp and it's still pretty good humidity. So you might want to keep your antifungal washes handy.
Yeah, and you spray those in those brief periods where we
Yeah.
got a dry spell for 4 hours, and so that it can sit on there. But we got partly cloudy going through the weekend. Tuesday, chance of rain, chances of rain throughout the week. Friday, 74 degrees prediction, clear. It's really weird to look at this forecast because everything is cloudy and rainy. And then suddenly Friday clear, but then we're going back to partly cloudy, mostly cloudy for the rest of the month. And
Well, once we get past Memorial Day, though, Rufus is a lot more positive. It looks like he's thinking that the westerly flow will set up to bring a few showers and some weak disturbances for the first part of June. So it's April showers bring May flowers, May rains bring mud.
mud.
Oh, no, that's the wrong one.
I don't believe that that's a full actual statement.
No.
No, what I'm looking for is the way that the weather is setting up right now. You came over to my garden as it is, and I showed you the grapes that are about to.
They're
have
right
the flower.
there.
They're about to flower, and I don't want the rain to happen because last year. The rain kind of happened like it is today. You might get like a little brief thing while these grapes were flowering. And the important thing about the flowering is if you get too much water, too much dampness, the berry doesn't develop because the flower doesn't work.
No.
I don't have to go into how
The magic doesn't happen.
we reproduce with the grape. But anyway, so right now it's about to flower. I just don't want the rains to hit. And my grapes, they look like they're about a little ahead of most of the other grapes that are in the county. So I'm hoping for partly cloudy. I'll even take mostly cloudy, just not rainy.
Well, you mentioned that grapes are like self-pollinating.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really need butterflies and bees
Right,
and things
exactly.
like that.
Actually, the bees get confused when they go there. They're like, "Well, that's something, but I don't get it."
But you still need, like you say, you have to have it dry enough for the pollen to fall onto the next things.
Yeah.
That's the trick, or to be wind blown onto the next things.
Right. Yep. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're just hoping for a little bit drier, and we'll have a good season like we did last year. So that is the weather, and we can talk about the irrigation. You were doing some discussing about that, and water is just really it's important right now. We were talking about drought conditions last week and irrigation conditions this week.
Well, the governor of Washington just declared the whole state of Washington, and I guess Oregon's going to follow suit as drought areas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I missed that.
Because the like in on the Olympic Peninsula, where they should have like 7 feet of snow.
Oh,
They got the glacier lilies in full bloom.
I don't even know what a glacier lily is.
Oh,
I'm
it's a
sorry,
small
just-
little flower that grows up out of this,
Is it like those snowdrop things that I
Yeah,
was sending
kinda.
you pictures
Yeah,
of?
cute little flowers.
Yeah.
And they should be covered by 7 feet of snow yet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes,
And they're not.
I see.
And that little situation is just...
So that's a drought. And the reason you want to declare the drought is because then you get federal funding, you
Yeah.
get more money, and everything happens quicker. So yes, even particularly the counties here in Southern Oregon. I think I was reading something like 13 counties have already declared drought conditions.
Right.
So it's going to follow suit.
And
But let's hope that our little pond of oasis that you mentioned earlier here in Yamhill can come out of this unscathed, and we don't have to dig those.
We're doing fine so far.
10,000-foot wells.
Yeah. And that was odd.
You're talking about your trip to California.
Yeah,
through California.
I don't know if we got time to go into that. We need to take a break here pretty quick.
You know we need to take a break right now, so why don't we hold that thought?
Let's do that.
Because we've got some
We'll be
news
right
to
back,
get
folks.
to. Yes, so right now you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC, 1260 AM, streaming on Facebook.
KLYC News, the latest from around.
U.S. raid in Syria. Presidential candidates questioned. I'm John Trout. The U.S. has conducted a rare raid in eastern Syria, killing an ISIS commander and capturing his wife. Correspondent Sunlan Sarfati is at the White House.
This is a substantial risk for President Obama to put U.S. assets on the ground in Syria. And we know from the White House that President Obama did make the decision, made the call himself to do so.
The ISIS leader was identified as Abu Sayyaf. The Pentagon says all U.S. forces returned safely to their base. He's not a candidate yet, but Jeb Bush compared his non-candidacy treatment to how an already declared candidate is being treated.
We're probably around 800 to 900 questions asked and hopefully answered. Just as an aside, Hillary Clinton has been a presidential candidate now for a month maybe, and she's had 13 questions asked by the press.
A large number of presidential hopefuls are expected to turn out for a Republican Party fundraiser in Des Moines, Iowa today. I'm John Trout. As the investigation into the Amtrak train crash in Philadelphia continues, officials have spoken to the engineer. Correspondent Aaron McLaughlin says Brandon Botstain has been very cooperative.
They said that he demonstrated an incredible knowledge of the area as well, but he simply does not remember what happened. The last thing he says he remembers is driving the train through the North Philadelphia station, ringing the bell, and then everything else is just a massive blank.
American Pharaoh very well may capture the eyes of spectators in the stands, unless, of course, they're looking at threatening skies. Bob Costantini is at Pimlico.
It's a hot, humid day, typical for Baltimore in late summer, and what it could bring is a late afternoon thunderstorm that could affect the Preakness. American Pharaoh is considered the favorite in an 8-horse field. Derby runner-up firing line starts from the outside, and the other horse that scrambled to the finish in Louisville, Dortmund, will be out of the number 2 gate.
The 140th Preakness Stakes is set for 6:18 p.m. Eastern. I'm John Trout.
Hi, here's your delivery from Staples.com.
Thanks, Staples guy. My office is starving. Got any snacks?
Staples has pretzels, granola bars, energy bars, trail mix, all at a low price.
Nuts?
Cashews, almonds, pistachios, pecans, walnuts.
Chips?
Potato chips, corn chips, whole grain chips, gluten-free chips.
Whoa, that's a lot of snacks.
We also have antacids. Tablet antacids, liquid antacids. Make on budget happen, make break time happen. Staples, make more happen. Now at Staples, get a 42-ounce bag of M&M's milk chocolate or peanut candy for just $8.99. Offer valid on SKU 689508 and 689504 and 523 while supplies last. See staples.com for details.
To the Root of It on AM 1260 KLYC is brought to you by Recology's Northwest Greenland in McMinnville. You know, it takes more than a pile of decomposing yard debris and leaves to make your soil healthy and your plants happy. That's why Recology actively manages their compost to ensure the highest level of microbial activity. The rich soil amendments promote healthy plant life in your vineyard, your nursery, your yard, and your garden. Recology's compost, which is certified for organic growing, can enhance overall soil quality, provide plants with nutrients they need to grow larger and healthier, minimize the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides, increase your soil's ability to hold moisture and retain nutrients, feed healthful earthworms, create a buffer for your plants against common toxins in the soil, and control pH levels and support essential bacterial growth. It's more than just compost. It's food for your soil. Northwest Greenland's a Recology company. In McMinnville at 2200 Northeast Orchard Avenue. Call Recology Northwest Greenlands at 503-434-1671. 503-434-1671. Recology Northwest Greenlands, a proud sponsor of To the Root of It on KLYC.
Listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM. We are talking about gardening here in Yamhill County, and we often come across some problems at the Extension Office, and thankfully we have these questions come in. And when we speak about the Extension Office, it's the Yamhill County one is located in McMinnville at 2050 Northeast Lafayette
There
Avenue.
you go.
There you go.
Yeah, you still remember where we play.
Right, exactly. Website is extension.oregonstate.edu. And these questions are really helpful for us to in our own personal situations. And this one comes up about this time, and I am speaking particularly of this leaf end rot. But that's not what it's called, right, Ray?
Well, no, it's called leaf tip burn. It's a necrotic manifestation in your leaves where just the very tip of the leaf is brown and crumbly. That's called necrotic. It's death, and the leaf is actually died, maybe down anywhere from a half an inch to an inch, depending on the size of the leaf. And it's very common in houseplants this time of the year that have been watered all winter long with tap water.
Oh,
Tap water is not really good in some places for plants in the house.
and it is because of the things that are in the tap
It's
water.
the stuff they add to the tap water or the softening agents that they use to make tap water palatable. Now, we have very, very good tasting water in McMinnville. It really is.
I have not really drank out of unfiltered tap water probably in about 25 years.
Rest assured, it is good tasting.
Is it? All right.
And that is because it's run through softening agents. We do have some minerals in the soil in the area, especially up in the Coast Range where our water actually comes from. And it wasn't very long ago, maybe half a century or more, there used to be mineral spas here in Yamhill County, and people would come here to bathe in the mineral spas.
What happened to those?
They just kind of went away.
They
became
dried
non-profitable.
up? Oh.
No, they just became non-profitable. People went to other places, or they went to Brighton Bush, or they went to, Carson Hot Springs.
You are a hotbed of information right now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it's called.
All right, so let's talk about this necrosis thing, because it's a brown, it's dyed back, and
Right.
you can tell you actually
it just
want
crumbles.
to just crumble it off.
Yeah, and
actually.
you think you need more water, so you put more water on it, and then the necrosis gets worse, and then eventually your plant dies.
Because
and you
the
wonder
leaf
what you did to it.
The leaf has dried out, so you want to put more water in it so that the leaf
Yeah.
isn't drying out.
That's
So
not the problem.
The problem is too much.
The problem
minerals.
is the salts in the water that are used as the softening agents, and you'll know that this is what's happening if you look at your potted plant and you see a little white film on the top of the plant,
Yes,
on the top of the dirt.
I know what you're talking about.
That's not mold.
No?
No, that is dried out salts
It's
from
salt.
the water.
Right.
And to get rid of it,
And this isn't just a problem with the
No.
tap water, because I have this problem with my unfiltered well water.
it can
And-
happen to anybody.
Thank you. Exactly, and you're absolutely right, because after the some of these house plants that I have just got a frosting of salt on the
Yep.
soil, and to get rid of this, what I have to do is I have to run distilled water through it.
You can shorten the process by taking the top maybe 2 inches of your potting soil and just throw it away, and put in fresh potting soil.
I've got roots in that soil, don't I?
Yeah, but that's okay. You're putting fresh dirt on it.
All right, replacing.
Yeah, you're just replacing the top couple of inches of your pot soil, and just chuck it out. You can throw it on the dirt. You can throw it on the lawn. You can throw it any place you don't care about because it's outside.
Because the way gravity works is you've got this salt on the top of the soil. Every time you put water on top of it, it's just getting pushed through the pot,
It's
further
getting
down into the bottom, and just staying there, slowly choking the roots because of the way the ionization process works with the root exchange. It can't work if you've got all of this salt-charged stuff in the way.
Yep. If you throw it the soil, just throw it out on the lawn. It gets rinsed out by rainwater because rainwater is naturally soft. God don't salt the rain.
No?
No, so it's
Because
okay.
salt doesn't get carried into it.
Not
Even
no.
though I swear, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I can smell the ocean on my farm. Because of the way the breeze is coming in, and maybe it's really fast. But you're right, you cannot have salt.
Well, you're right there at the end of where the breeze comes in from Lincoln City through the corridor and spreads out into the valley.
I can smell the ocean sometimes. It's
yeah,
really,
you're not imagining it.
I'm not. Thank you.
That really is rotten fish.
That's what it is, right? That's the one.
Smells like a dock somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you got really extreme cases or you've let it go too long, you may have to actually pull the plant up and wash off the roots. That's totally doable,
Right.
and then put it in just fresh dirt.
What I was
It'll be
once told
fine.
to do is you can flush out the roots with a little bit, almost a tablespoon per gallon of sugar, because the sugar actually attracts the salts away from the roots and it attracts it downward.
That could work.
And it does actually kind of work, and that's what I'm actually going to probably do with this. With one, actually,
Yeah.
the begonia's dead, and it is probably because of the salt buildup.
Yeah, you just what happens are the little feeder roots just die.
Poor things.
And
Poor
they
things.
just die.
And you can actually see those sometimes. They're just dried up
Yeah.
little cringly things.
You may have to
Trying to
cough up another $2.48 and start over with your begonia.
Those things
It
really take
happens.
off. Those things take
Yeah,
off, but
they
they
do.
take a lot of water.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what this. The question was, why do my leaf tips look brown? And the answer is because of salts in the water.
And actually, speaking to that point, we got an Ask an Expert also available at extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill. Ask an Expert. You can go ahead and go to that website and ask them. Somebody will get back to you. One of the questions popping up there was, there is a lot of dead head trees out there, particularly in this person's instance, spruce trees. So you go out
Yeah.
there and you just see these brown dead treetops. For me, it happened with my poplars and an aspen tree, but also one of my spruces was also just the top of it's brown. Everything underneath, middle down, perfectly green, perfectly fine. And so the person asking the question was wondering if it was frost damage because of that one really bad day of frost that we had. Maybe it was 2 days this past winter. You weren't here. What do you know?
I was in a 92-degree swimming pool. I'm sorry, sitting on my noodle.
Noodles are funny. So anyway, so we've got these deadhead trees but it's not frost. It's actually drought. And when I brought this up to you, immediately you said, I think it's drought. And you're absolutely right. We had a bad drought last year where these trees weren't getting the proper
It's been going on
attention.
for a couple of years now, and people don't notice it.
They don't immediately die. That's the thing, is
No.
they've got enough to look like they're still alive, and they'll get to the winter, and maybe a bad frost will happen, or they'll get a bad beetle burrowing in there. But the damage was already done months
Yeah.
ago. And right now, we're seeing the new growth start to show up on the evergreens and the trees, and that are dead, that suffered these drought conditions last year. That part is dead. So we're seeing it throughout the valley, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just
my backyard.
Not just your backyard. Any heavy water feeders, spruces, hemlocks, aspens, poplars, cottonwoods, any of those that really are heavy water feeders are not getting enough for their needs, period. And it's been going on for a couple of years now. So when you get a little frost and it doesn't, anything down, I'm not talking the 28 degree,
Right.
make you mad because you got to scrape your window frost. I'm talking the 22 degree where the dog won't go outside frost.
The 22 degrees for 2 days.
Yeah, that's all it takes,
Yeah.
especially if the tree is already stressed. Because as we've discussed on this program, water will help prevent damage if the trees are properly hydrogenated.
Right. Hydrogenated. Stop making
Blah.
up words.
Yeah.
Right. Water your trees and they won't die.
Yeah.
Good advice, as always. Yeah. But you can email questions to Ray because he's a wealth of knowledge himself. So email Ray at totherootofit.com. I'm Kyle at totherootofit.com. But the watering, the drought conditions, they are only going to get worse. This
Sorry.
year, we've got the El Nino factor coming in.
Yep.
And so we have rain predicted in places.
But not where we need it.
Right, exactly. And not enough of it and not long enough.
No.
So we can expect to see this deadhead problem popping up.
Yeah, it's going to come up.
But if you've got the means and you're seeing this problem in your backyard, we're going to talk about rain collecting, irrigation, and the like coming up. But right now we will take a break. You're listening to The Root of It, streaming on Facebook and on the old-fashioned AM dial, 1260 AM.
With Christensen Auto Sales, McMinnville's newest used car dealer, located out here on Highway 99 next to Cascade Steel. We offer a large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. We also offer easy-to-qualify financing with no formal credit check and buy here, pay here credit terms. If you have a verifiable source of income, a permanent address, and a down payment on some vehicles as low as $500, we'll have you driving down the road today in your new vehicle. So come down and see us at 3080 Northeast Highway 99 or check us out on the web at christensenautosales.net. That's CHRISTENSEN autosales.net or call us at 503-687-2080.
In business and taking care of your needs since 1983, it's D&D Electrical. Big company support, small town service. They are your full-service contractor, residential, commercial, and industrial, including low voltage and security. It's D&D Electrical. When asked, their answer is usually, yes, we can do that. From solar to security systems to industrial control, D&D Electrical can handle the job. 503-472-4003. Ready to go to work for you right now. D&D Electrical, McMinnville.
Thank you, my car's like new. J&W CarStar will do the same for you.
J&W CarStar Auto Body Repair Experts is truly a great business. Our friendly staff and great technicians make your problem dents go away with ease. We guarantee it for as long as you own your car, so come see the people who care.
J&W CarStar Collision Repair. Come see the people who care.
And welcome here on KLYC. Hey Ray, let's get into some rainwater collecting because this is something that I've been threatening myself to do for a long time, but we haven't gotten around to it.
It's really a very simple process. You build something to catch water and from your roof.
Yeah.
And someplace to store it, and you can use like 50-gallon big plastic barrels. You can build a cute little fence around them, and nobody will know what you're doing, and all of the rainwater off of your roof goes into the barrels. Now,
this is something that we usually we in the Pacific Northwest we take it readily take advantage of it because we get so much usually. But the rainwater that we're collecting for a roof, quick disclaimer, you don't want to use that for the food that you're going to eat, so you don't want to water your tomatoes or your carrots, just because you're getting stuff from up there. But for your pansies, for your dahlias, for your daisies is fine.
Well, all you have to do is add a filter system.
Like a little charcoal tray.
And they're very simple. There's little... This all comes from a pamphlet that you can get at the extension office, and it's called Harvesting Rainwater. And it's pamphlet number EM 9101.
So Harvesting Rainwater, just to put that out there, extension.oregonstate.edu/EMHill. Just search the database.
Yep.
This is perfectly free to look at.
Yep.
And
perfectly free to download, too.
Absolutely.
And it's number 9101.
So I'm looking at a picture, a diagram of a roof a gutter, and I think pretty much everybody can picture this. You've got your drain coming down, and it can be going into one of those big round rain barrels. It can go into a plastic bag. You can have a string of Ziploc bags hooked up. However you want to collect your water, you can put it together. But then, what do you have to do with the water? You want to use it. How do you get it then to the different parts?
You can take in your plastic barrel, you can attach little plastic connectors and use like a regular drip irrigation system.
Yep, we will get into those.
And we'll get into that. That is pamphlet number 8782.
Yeah, write that one down.
Yeah,
as
write
you're
that one
driving.
down. Yeah, write that one down as you're driving along. But it's not technically hard to do.
Hey, Ray, how long have you lived in Oregon? Just years. How many years?
68.
All right. So how many of those years have you spent collecting rainwater from your roof?
Maybe two.
Two. Why is it not more popular for you? Why?
Because we're so used to having it fall from the sky.
Yeah, it does happen.
And it's therefore laziness.
Yeah.
Part of it is not having a permanent dwelling for long enough to worry about it.
Yeah.
I've moved a lot around Oregon. I've lived in Hood River and Scappoose and Eugene, and
it's work is what you're getting around to.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like it could be a little bit easier, but
it seems really daunting to actually set up.
Everything does, but it can be done in less than 2 hours, 3 hours if you've got a willing spouse.
Yeah.
or partner,
or one that'll bring you a lot of coffee.
Or help. Yeah, helping is not out of the realm.
Helping is not out of the realm. It doesn't take that long to collect the things either, because these food grade barrels are non-usable according to law.
I picked one up for $20. Very easy to do, and then you just stick the end of your rain gutter right in there.
Yeah,
easy enough, easy peasy. And then, like you mentioned, you can have a filter, charcoal filter, whatever. And
just run a little faucet out the side of it.
Make sure that the seal. What I've found is you want the lid to be tight, because you'd be amazed at how big of a creature can fit through these small little cracks that I left. I screwed the lid on tightly, and I've got these beetles inside of my water. I have no idea how they could have even gotten in there, but you want to make sure the lid is tight, otherwise you got the creepies in there.
Well, you can put a little vent on it so that the water flows out too. I mean, it's just like a little pop-off valve. The beetles aren't going to go through that.
No.
And it's just enough to give air access to the barrel, so that when you turn the faucet on and you have the little drip irrigation system running around two sides of your house, and it runs out, you can let it drip very slowly. A 50-gallon barrel of water will last you for several weeks.
I'm going to find out, because I went ahead and I've picked up 4 of these rain gathering barrels. I haven't used them to actually collect rain. However, I've placed them in my garden, and I've got wells, because I've got my well water.
Right.
That when it hits a certain temperature, the depth of my web well goes down, and I don't have as much water, and I run out of water trying to water my garden. So I've got these collections of water that I'm going to use, but they're 50-gallon drums, and I'm afraid I'm going to go through it very quick. Tomatoes require a lot, and then I've got baby grapes going, and so when you say a 50-gallon lasts a long time, I'm curious.
Well, I'm thinking like little.
Or the small garden.
The small garden, the flower gardens, the things along the edge of your house that are going to be affected by heat and things of that nature, and you would normally water them a lot with either sprinklers or drip irrigation from your faucet.
Yeah.
And to help with that, a barrel system will provide a certain amount of water that you can use.
Yeah.
And it doesn't...
And it's water you're not paying the city for.
No, it's free.
It's free.
It
comes from the sky.
But you'd be amazed at how many gallons of water run off your roof and go into the sewer and just go away.
Oh, yeah.
And that's...
Particularly here, and then it goes out into the...
and then it goes out, and then you got to...
And then we're craving it. We're craving for it.
Where did that go? It went down the drain, folks.
went away.
It's out there choking the fish to death.
Yeah. So that's the collecting of the rain water. There are a few other ways, but a great resource, extension.oregonstate.edu/EMHill. Many more publications, more than the ones that we were just mentioning right there. But the thing that I have been toiling with is connecting the drip irrigation up to these barrels that I've put out there, and I'm not a planner. And setting up an irrigation system is something that requires a plan. I feel like I work best when I'm given all of the tools and just go and fumble some conglomeration out of everything that you've got here. But if you can put together a plan, and I've tried 2 different irrigation systems, so I'm an expert. And so if you can come up with a plan, it makes the job that much easier because I'm piecewising it as I go along.
Well, anything that can help you not use overhead sprinklers. They're a terrible waste of water.
Overhead sprinklers you're talking about?
The things.
Yes.
They evaporate. They don't really water where you need it sometimes. They may overwater things that don't need water. Mm-hmm. It's easier to regulate your water usage with just a minimum amount of planning.
Yeah.
Automatic sprinkler systems are a terrific convenience. I've got one myself.
Sounds expensive.
Well, mine came with the house.
Sounds really expensive.
Yeah, I paid for it one way or the other, that's for sure. But even with automatic lawn watering systems, you can use watering heads that are much more water efficient. Mm-hmm. You can set your timers if you have one for much more effective water usage, like watering only in the morning from 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock in the morning, that type of thing.
Well, and since we're moving into the irrigation part of the show, yeah, you're right. There are bells and whistles that you attach to this irrigation system. You've got you can put up a pump, pressure relief valve, because who doesn't need a pressure relief valve? You also have your pressure control, chemical injection, just in case you want to fertigate, as it's called. And
wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull that one out of your. Oh
no, I've almost got a degree for that. So you've got backflow prevention on these things. Everything that I have mentioned, none of it do I have in my own irrigation system. I don't have any pressure control, no pump, no chemical injection.
You just haven't got around to it yet.
I haven't. I've got a long tube, and off of that tube, I've got just little smaller tubes connected with ends that are sticking in plant pots, sticking in the ground, and I get lost. And I'm not the only one, because I go to the big box store here in town, and I'm in that irrigation aisle. They've got pictures, they've got sizes, they've got men staring at these things because they're like me. They didn't come in there with a plan. They're trying to put this thing together in their head as they go. Yeah. And there are too many parts. For the most part, there are far too many things to put onto this irrigation thing.
You know, there's actual YouTube videos. You go in and Google YouTube video how to assemble a drip irrigation system, and there's a nice 15-minute video.
Just one?
Just, well, there's lots of them, actually, depending on...
You found one 15-minute video that was very helpful for you, right?
I found one that was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it involved timers.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have to do that.
Yes. Not just constantly turn your water on?
No, they're little battery-operated timers. They're about $19.95 at the aforementioned big box store.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's call it reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a huge electrical system or anything like that. All you need is a AA Duracell and you're in business. Just astounded.
Maybe even solar powered. Who knows? We're in the
that could be
turn of the millennium here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to drop into a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more, particularly about the drip irrigation, because it is something that I think needs a little bit more of a voice, because you're just enough water for the plants need. So you're listening to the root of it right here on KLYC 1260 AM. We're also streaming on Facebook. If you miss any of this, we're also on YouTube. 15-minute videos.
If you're looking for a job, seriously, you want to work at a place that's fun to work at.
Fun!
Very fun. Then I think you need to apply at Fastenal. Who are you looking for?
It's a part-time position, 20 to 27 hours a week. I would call it front of the house people. These are the people who are going to be working with the customers, answering the phone, working with people's problems when they're coming in, also making deliveries. Part-time position that might lead into full-time, but I can't guarantee it, but it's definitely something that could work into something. It would be great if this individual had some basic understanding of industrial supplies. Now, if you just don't have anything, but you're a great personality, we will train you. You do have to have a driver's license. That's always, unfortunately, everyone needs to do everything, so driving. So you have to be able to lift up 50 pounds and then 20 pounds consistently. We're only open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. So you're
Weekends
not
off.
Weekends off.
How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, best thing is if you go to fastenal.com, in the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a careers icon. Click on that, then it'll come up saying which state. Click on Oregon. From that, click on the city of McMinnville. From that, click on part-time. I know that's crazy, but we're a big corporation now, 2,800 stores. And from there, you have a job application and an attitude survey. Everyone has to go through that. At the end of that, it will either say, great, love connection, way to go, someone will be in touch, or it will say, hey, thanks for trying, maybe not right away.
Go online and check it out. Again, the website, fastenal.com.
Yep, fastenal.com, upper right-hand corner, careers. Click on that.
Life is happening all around you. The sights and sounds of parties, conversations, and time with friends and family. So don't miss out. May is Better Hearing Month, and McMinnville Hearing Center wants you to hear what you've been missing. Research shows that addressing hearing loss is one of the best things to improve your quality of life. Hearing well can make you more optimistic, feel more engaged with life, and tackle problems head on. Greg Arnone of McMinnville Hearing Center invites you to call and make an appointment for a free, no-commitment hearing evaluation. Hear what you're missing. Call 503-472-5554 to make an appointment today. McMinnville Hearing Center.
Back, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC. We're talking about irrigation, drip irrigation, particularly when we went into the break. And the reason that we were talking about irrigation is because the needs that the roots, particularly when they're young, at any point, if you've got any drought stress, it prevents the plant from growing to its optimal point.
Well, we'd like to thank our sponsors over at Northwest Greenlands, the purveyors of some of the best mulch in the world.
You like their mulch, right?
I do.
Keeps the soil nice and moist.
When I left last fall, I put like 6 inches over everything.
All right.
And when I came back in May, it took me like 30 minutes to pull the few weeds that had actually grown in the mulch.
Yeah, because you're a believer that you don't have to weed; you just have to cover it with thicker dirt.
Cover it up. Yeah. But we really appreciate them sponsoring us and taking care of us so nicely.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? There's a community garden plant sale still going on.
Yes, if you haven't got your tomato plants yet,
right,
over at the community garden.
Burnett Road in McMinnville and Baker, right?
No, West Side Road and Burnett.
There you go.
There we go. Anyway, they've got, Wednesday when I was over there, there were still hundreds of tomato plants, and they're beautiful because now they've had another 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
So hard to not want to put them in the soil. You can almost just feel it, right?
They're like 12 inches tall and
so
got
you go ahead
stems like pencils.
Go down to the community garden in McMinnville.
For
grab
$1
your tomatoes,
piece.
and you stick them in the soil right now, right?
Yeah, they've also got a wide variety of perennials that were apparently slow growing in that they weren't quite ready for the Master Gardener plant sale at the end of April.
Right.
Well, now they've been setting out in the sun.
What did you pick up when you were over there? We were over there a couple of weeks ago at the community garden. You picked up something.
I picked up all my petunias and marigolds and trailing geraniums. Right. I managed to bag a bunch of Doris's big white magnum geraniums.
Sounds fierce.
Oh,
That
they
sounds
are
really fierce.
They are the most awesome geraniums in the world, and they're very durable. They and I don't know.
What are you doing to your geraniums that they need to be so durable? I'm like, you're punching them.
Yeah, slap them around, a little miracle grow.
Get them all
Here,
jacked up.
shove
on
this
Miracle
up
Grow.
your stem.
Right. Good job. And then we got one more plant sale to mention.
This is the tree and plant sale that is sponsored by the See You Later Foundation, and this is really cool. And it's over at the Walgreen parking lot, and it's bare root trees are $5, and potted trees are $10. Come on, these are paper bark maples and Japanese snowbells and willows and pin oaks and hydrangeas. And there's
Not one ugly
I
name
don't
in
know.
there. Not one
No.
ugly name.
They say they've got apples like Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Jonathan, and more, but I bet you those went quick if they're only $5 a piece.
Let's go find out.
I'm going to have to swing by and see if you can see any of those. But lots of really great perennials and bare root trees. No evergreens.
No evergreens because they don't have bare roots.
Conifers.
So speaking of the roots and getting back to the irrigation, I'm glad that you.
Oh, this sale, it goes from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock this afternoon, and the community garden sale started 45 minutes ago too. So, but if by the time you hear this ad and you get over there, you're going to be in line.
Or
I'm sorry.
But don't let that dissuade you by any means.
Yeah, don't let
correct?
that back you off. They got lots of help over there.
So roots, irrigation, water.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that. Let's jump back into the irrigation of the watering. Because the root development crops have the characteristic effective rooting patterns and depth. So you need to make sure that the water is getting deep. And if it's constantly just drying and you're watering it, you don't have a consistent wet depth because you're really only getting, let's say, the top 2 inches wet.
Right. Deep watering is really, really and slow so that the plant doesn't drown. And your water doesn't just run off down the street. The reason you need to do this is because the little air holes in the leaves that do the actual breathing of the plant.
Stomata,
good word.
Almost got that degree.
They will automatically shut down if the plant comes under stress. And then you're in trouble.
Yes.
Because the plant will then die.
You don't want it to die.
And then you don't want it to die.
Right.
And then you get into this other thing. It's just bad.
Are we talking about necrosis again? Okay, good.
Yeah, I was gonna, but I'm not now.
Right. So, and then particularly here with the watering that we have to do, so many different types of soil. As a matter of fact, that's like the third time I've mentioned that. I've got to take a soil class, and I've seen these things. You've got jury soil, you've got sandy loam soil, you've got clay, sandy, jury. You've got all of these different types of soil here, and we have those Missoula floods to thank for that because they just moved a whole bunch of water all over here. But the water retention rate, as it's referred to, is different depending on where in the valley you are.
But they all respond really well to drip irrigation.
Oh.
Yeah, if you flood it with overhead watering, you have a tendency for the soil surface to just compact, and then you got nothing but runoff.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't drip down in. It doesn't soak down in where the roots are. And that's why you can really save a lot of water by going to drip irrigation systems, especially around your homes. And once they're installed, there's practically no maintenance to them unless you run over it with a rototiller.
Well, yeah, exactly. And with the irrigation, you want to make sure that you're watching for leaks. And that's the problem that I have. I did the self-installation last year. This year, I'm dealing with leaks almost in different places. And it's really interesting because it's almost like a child wetting himself, because you just see a little piece of dirt that is dry everywhere else, but you've got this little wet marks that's come up, and you know that's the little indiscreet wet spot that this thing cannot hold it in anymore. So it's come up. So then digging and then re-gluing, refitting, and it's just a constant patchwork for me right now. But I'm no expert. I I only read about this stuff.
Well, the last time I had a busted water faucet due to the frost, I got smart and I put a actual drain pipe and shutoff valve underneath the house.
That sounds fancy.
It's not.
Okay.
It's really
No, exactly. That's the thing is I want to demystify all of this.
Yeah.
Like setting up the irrigation, sure, it sounds hard and you might get it wrong, but it's a lot easier. It's like baking a cake. It's something that's fun to do. Maybe you don't want to do it all the time, but it's fun to do. So I don't want people to think when they hear shutoff valve or anything like that it's any more complicated than sticking peg B into hole A.
That's really all it is.
Right. So
And
you've got a shutoff valve.
now when we left, I just go, and I have room to crawl underneath the house. You can locate these any place where it's convenient for you on your main water line. And it's just a simple handle valve.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a ball valve. It's either open or closed. And so what I do is I close it, and then just beyond that, I have another little drain valve, and I open that up and just let the water run out on the ground, and it's done. The whole place is drained. Nothing's going to freeze and bust.
Yeah, I think that's the problem that I had with mine is the frost. In coming where I'm from in Colorado, pipes have to be like 3.5 feet down.
Yeah.
3.5 feet down.
Well, you got permafrost there.
Right, exactly. So, and sometimes you don't have cooperating soil. You're like digging right into rock, but it doesn't matter because if it's at like 3 feet, then you're gonna have frozen pipes there.
Yeah.
And here, I get a little bit spoiled. I'll only go down about maybe a foot, and maybe that turns into 10 inches or 8 or so. Not enough.
Pretty soon the garden hose is laying across the lawn again.
Exactly. Exactly. For me, it's 100-foot long garden hose stringing across the garden everywhere, weaving in and out of rows. But that's why I put the irrigation system in. So I hope it's just not as complicated as
Gardening
as it
for us is not a perfect science. There is perfect science out there.
Right. That's why we have the extension office. They tell us that there is a perfect science, and if you want to mimic it, we've got the information for you. Go for it. We're not guaranteeing you success by any means, but if you want success, this is how you do it.
There are ways to reduce your water footprint. There are ways to cut your water bill. There are ways to have happier plants, and it involves smart watering. I don't always practice it. Well, you try.
I attempt to because, again, I read these pamphlets. I've got one right here in front of me, Drip Irrigation and Introduction. I read these. I go to extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill because I want to know this information. But I'm a gorilla with a paintbrush. You know, sure, it looks like something and it's neat because the gorilla did it. But is it really art? Is it really an irrigation system?
But the beauty of drip irrigation is it can be adapted to, I mean, you don't have to do it in straight line fashion. You can, if you got curvy water beds, you can make curvy drip irrigation.
Right.
It flexes. It is easily adaptable to what your landscape's patterns are without wasting additional materials. And like I said, an afternoon, you can get a lot done.
Yeah, you're just pulling tubes. The digging the trenches is the hardest part for me, and really with my garden the way it is right now. I've been working that soil for 5 years. It's not so hard to dig a trench.
You got really good soil.
I'm happy with it so far.
Yeah, no, that's been.
It's soft where I need it to be. It's hard where I need it to be.
Yeah,
and I'm getting real. That Google Earth of my picture of my garden right now is looking so much better than the previous years. I'm happy with it.
I mean, you've got some beautiful, beautiful raspberries and grapes growing out there. They're coming.
Yeah, those raspberries are. We got to see the bees grabbing the last of the nectar out of there because the berries are starting to form on my raspberries.
Oh, fabulous!
And the blackberries around the house are sufficiently dying.
Now you got to do.
So I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
that took a lot of work and fertigating, herbigating, whatever that is.
Let's see. What else we got?
We got nothing else.
Okay.
You know why? Because it's time to go, right?
It's time to go.
Yeah. But it's been fun talking about that watering, and it's really it's important because what I found over my years of dealing with this garden is that I run out of water because my well it does go dry, and there are those days where the hose is really hot, and I don't want to water my roots with a really hot hose or something, but I need to just store this water, and so right now I've got about 250, 300 gallons. Just
That's
stored.
pretty cool.
It's there.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
well, it's not going to rot.
Let's hope not. It's hope not. Thank you, though, Ray. If you missed any part of the show, you can get it on YouTube. Just search KLYC, To the Root of It, today's date, and you will find us there. And if you got any questions, go ahead and email Ray. He's Ray at To the Root of It. I'm Kyle at To the Root of It. But Ray,
.com.
Right, .com.
Don't forget the .com.
Right, Ray at totherootofit.com. You're more likely to get the emails to him. He enjoys the responses.
Actually, I have it on my phone.
I love that phone, Ray.
Oh, I do. My wife has threatened horrible things to my phone. Oh,
I've seen horrible things. Okay, so it's 57 degrees here in McMinnville, 10 o'clock, all that stuff.
Go and pull your weeds.
That's right. You're listening to The Root of It here on KLYC 1260 AM. And as Ray says...
To the root of it? No.
No, you don't say that, Ray.
I don't say that?
No, you say keep your tools sharp.
Keep your tools sharp, folks.